I thought I'd better do another quick video on determining the frequency or the period of a sine wave while I'm in the mood. I just uploaded the first one. We've covered that. If y equals, for instance, the sine of x, we can rewrite it as y equals the sine of ax, where a is a 1, a is a 1, and the reason we do that is because we can also rewrite it as y equals the sine of 2 pi f x, or these are all the same, y equals the sine of 2 pi on t, the period, f is the frequency, x. Have a look at that for a second. So in the case of this part here being equal to 1, what happened was let's have a look at it. 2 pi t equals a, which in our case equals 1. Therefore we can go, oh, look at that, we can go the period equals 2 pi, which also meant then that 2 pi f equals a, which equals 1. So therefore f equals 1 on 2 pi. F is the frequency, t is a period. We cover those things. So that means then, so there's always a 1 living up here, right? We could also write, look, we can also write y equals sine of x as, because there's a 1 in front of the x, we could also write it as y equals the sine of 2 pi on 2 pi x. And so there it is there in this form, where the period t on the denominator is 2 pi. So we get 2 pi divided by the period 2 pi, causing a 1. So it's like that. Let's have a look at the case, shall we, very briefly. I wanted to cover this. Let's look at the case where the period was, say, pi. All right? That would mean we could write it as y equals the sine of, now instead of x, we're going to put a 2 pi on t, 2 pi on the period pi times x. We can write it in this form. I've said here that the period, the bit there in the bottom, is equal to pi. So what happens is this can now be rewritten as y equals the sine of 2 pi divided by pi is 2x. And that's the case. If the equation or a curve was written as y equals sine of 2x, it has a period of pi, because 2 pi divided by pi, the bit that's always there, then equals 2. We can go backwards on this as well, and we can say, well, have a look. So the bit that's always living in front of the x, you know, and back here we said it was pi on pi, making it 1. But the bit that's always living in front of the x is really 2 pi and t. So we can also go backwards and we can go, well then, 2 pi on this t, the period, is equal to 2. Therefore, let's rearrange it. Therefore, t is equal to 2 pi on 2, which equals pi, the period. Because we already said that. We said t equals pi. T equals pi. Sorry, t equals pi. I'll do a little, you know, that's just part 2 of the video on determining the frequency and the period of a sine wave.